What's going on, y'all? It's your boy, Speaker of Truth. Yes, sir. Coming at you one more time. Welcome to the Difference Podcast. I am joined here by my guest today, the person I will be interviewing, answering my questions. I will be picking his brain. We will be going through his experiences, and that's it. More or less. I got my boy Austin Rogers here today. Austin, welcome.
What's up?
Hey man,
Appreciate
glad
you
you're
having
here.
me, man.
Hey man, hey, anytime, bro. You welcome anytime. I appreciate you you coming through. Austin is my cousin, my brother. You feel what I'm saying? We cousins for real. Don't get it twisted, but I call him my brother because we locked in. Somebody that basically I trust. I value his opinion. Somebody that holds me accountable. Somebody that gives me good advice. All that. You know what I'm saying? So when he said that he would do the podcast and that he actually wanted to get on the podcast, I jumped at the opportunity. You know what I'm saying? And one of the things that I really do appreciate about Austin is that like he really does support me outside of everything that I mentioned beforehand, but like with the podcast, like things I post online, you feel what I'm saying? Like he's someone who speaks life into me, and I find it imperative, important, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's so valuable that I have somebody that I've known since I was a kid, you know what I'm saying? And now that we're full-blown adults, he's doing things that other people that I've known for just as long, they don't do on the same level, man. So I have to give Austin his flowers. Who the heck is calling me, bro? Sorry about that, folks.
Boy got them babies.
Nah, bro, chill. Bro, chill. I have to give Austin his flowers because ultimately, at the end of the day, well, I ain't even gonna say that, but everybody that that since you've been small, is not gonna support you in the same way that Austin has. You feel what I'm saying? So I really appreciate you, bro. I really do love you, man. And I can't wait to watch this back and be like, bro, we killed that.
Appreciate that, bro. That's love, bro. Honestly.
100%. So that was a small introduction. I'm gonna give y'all a little bit more. This ain't gonna be a huge introduction, but this is an important distinction, I guess is the right word. I have my notes, you feel what I'm saying, so we don't go off track. But basically, like I stated earlier, Austin is my cousin, Austin Rogers. He played for Alabama State University and Faulkner University, their basketball program. You know what I'm saying? I believe he's somebody who, like they say, ball is life. Like that was Austin, you know what I'm saying? Like he was about that life, you feel what I'm saying? And I stated it earlier, you feel what I'm saying? It's in the notes, so I gotta acknowledge the notes. I've known him for a long time, you feel what I'm saying? He's been in my corner for a long time. We keep it real, bro. We keep it real. He holds me accountable. I do my best to hold him accountable. Not to say that doesn't work. I'm just saying I'm not always the one that's like, Austin, you got to be doing X, Y, Z. You feel what I'm saying? More so it's the other way around. So that's why I worded it that way. But without further ado, I give you Austin Rogers. Today, we will be talking about his experience as a basketball player. So I'll be asking him some questions in relation to that. And we're really just gonna be chopping it up and seeing where it goes, man. And I think it's gonna be some dope energy, man. So I'm gonna shut up. Austin, is there anything you want to say to start the podcast off, man? Any topic, you feel what I'm saying? Anything you want to say about your experience as a baller? You know what I mean? Any advice that you want to give to people? Maybe somebody younger your age, somebody that's at your age right now. Like, how do you want to start it?
Well, I would say if I had to say anything, it'd just be as simple as don't get complacent where you are, regardless where you are. You could be successful, or what people perceive as successful, to be successful, and be complacent, and you could lose it all. I know that sounds so cliche, but it's like, if you don't have something driving you, you're not going to keep going upward.
Okay. So I like where you started, and I'm glad I asked the question because that was dope. I would say that's pretty on message for what it is that I have talked about in the past. And I still want to talk about your basketball experience, but I'm going to save that more for towards the middle. So for right now, what I want to focus on, just like what you said, right? So can you name or give two examples of how you make sure that you don't stay complacent?
Well, I feel like staying busy, and I know it sounds pretty general, but when I say staying busy, that means like finding something productive you can do as it pertains to your job, I guess your family, networking, because I'm big on networking. It's like I feel like if you could find something, your finances, I feel like if you could find something to better yourself in any way, just free time to do so. And if you use your free time to do so, I completely.
Well, we're having some audio problems. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I was gonna say, you hear me?
See, let's try that again because I heard you up until you said like financial, and then you started to sound like Optimus Prime. So you were basically saying like stay busy, um, don't stay busy, be productive, whether that be in your in your job, during your free time, during your finances. What else were you saying?
Yeah, and I was just saying, like, it could be family time. Anytime you have to be productive, I feel like you should take advantage of it. Over, I feel like even when it comes to like sleeping in, those are hours that you can be using to do something. But also, I feel like you should take advantage of the time you have at hand. Like, let's say you work a job. It's like if you're not bettering yourself in the time you have at your job to try to like obtain skills that you could use for the next job whenever you level up, you're really not hurting anybody but yourself. And a lot of people don't see it that way.
No, I definitely understand what it is that you're saying because I'm doing my best to apply those that mindset and those principles to my life right now. Um, I would say to put it in my own words, um, for me and my dad were having a conversation, right? And he was just like he wasn't telling me these things because I was doing these things. We were having a separate conversation about something else. And he was just like, it stuck with me. He was like, you need to make sure that you're active. You feel what I'm saying? Specifically, like as a man, and then he took it a step further and said specifically as a black man. You feel what I'm saying? Like you have to be active. You feel what I'm saying? And if you don't have anything that you're doing, let's just say you don't have a job. You feel what I'm saying? Or you just have an abundance of free time. You feel what I'm saying? Like, what are you doing with that free time? You have to like stimulate your mind, and in doing so and staying active and stimulating your mind, other things are going to happen as a result. You feel what I'm saying? So you use networking in what it is that you stated. So like, let's just say, I have, like, for me today, I have the day off, right? I could just say I'm going to go to the gym. You feel what I'm saying? As opposed to like just staying at home all day, chilling, and let's just say watching Netflix. If I go to the gym, my mind's gonna be stimulated by not only the physical activity that I'm doing and stuff like that. Driving, that's a stimulation regardless of whether you agree with me or not. But you may meet somebody at the gym and a networking opportunity may happen that way. You feel what I'm saying? So I completely agree and understand with what it is that you state, man, because being complacent for me, because I've been complacent many a times, it hasn't led to anything of productivity. Like nothing good came out of me being complacent. It's just it's like I learned from that, so I guess some good came out of it. But ultimately, man, like I was just stuck to a certain extent, man.
Yeah, I understand that. And it's like that's common. And I'm not saying that I've never been at a point in my life where I haven't been complacent, but it's like, I mean, I feel like it happens to most people, but it's like it's better to see it before it's too late. And I'm pretty sure everybody has their ups, and I know everybody has their ups and their downs, but it's like, that's why you have to stay even keel and keep that consistency. so you're not all over the place. And then when you're all over the place, you start to question everything. So I just say keep it consistent and just try to better yourself and try to
Okay.
learn from your mistakes, because nobody's perfect. Nobody's gonna do everything perfect. It's just, you live and you learn. Cliche phrase, but it is what it is.
No, that's true for sure. That's definitely true for sure. Um, Kind of using that to transition over to your basketball life. You know what I'm saying? Your basketball career. Um, do you feel like there was any point in time where you're complacent in your basketball career? And if you were, how did you get out of that? How did you combat that? And if you weren't, what was the driving factor for that? You feel what I'm saying? Because I feel like for a lot of people, they have goals and aspirations, right? Or not, let's just say they don't even have a goal or aspiration, but they're doing something, right? And I guess wanting to be good at it, that's a goal, right? So maybe they have a goal. Maybe they just want to be good at what it is that they're doing. How were you able to make sure that you didn't fall into being complacent um, while you were doing, your thing in basketball?
Because I look at it like this: you always have room to play better, and since you always have room to play better, there's no reason for you to ever be complacent. LeBron has so much room to play better. James Harden, Julius Randle, and it's like, even if you are at the level that you feel like you should be, if you have no drive to get better or to even like outwork the next man, what are you really doing? You're really fooling yourself, because there's always somebody out there who's more talented than you, works harder than you, has a better build, bigger, faster, stronger, whatever the case may be. The fact of the matter is, you're not going to be the best if you don't work like the best. And granted, you have some guys who just have it naturally, but that's very rare. And even those guys, don't really get over the hump because they just don't have that drive. But, there are no absolutes. So it's case by case. But in my case, as it comes to me, I would say I had to work, because I'm not the fastest guy. I'm not the most athletic guy. But it's like I could provide those intangible things to the game, which made me valuable.
Okay. I want to dive deeper into basketball, but not necessarily right now. Um, would you say that you're a self-aware person, Austin?
Yes, most definitely.
Okay. Do you feel like that was something that you developed over time, or was it innate?
I feel like I was probably raised that way, because I feel like my dad raised me to be where you can fool everybody else, but you'll never be able to fool yourself. You always know the truth, the reality of whatever the situation you have going on.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, there's no use in even trying to fool yourself. And you can fool everybody else, but if you're not keeping it real with yourself, how can you even expect to get anywhere? And that was instilled in me at a young age. And now I just look at things as like, man, I know if I do certain things, you just have to bite the bullet for it and take what comes with it. But at the same time, you can't be too reserved to where you don't want to take those risks, because, big risk, big reward. But, it's case by case, so you have to take it with a grain of salt. But that's just how I am.
No, man, I feel you. And the reason why I asked the question is because I don't want to say the first question. Maybe that wasn't the first question. But we were talking about how, how you stayed driven and how you made sure that you didn't become complacent in your basketball career, right? And so, basically what you said was like, there's no room to be complacent. Like you knew that, you feel what I'm saying? And everybody doesn't necessarily know that. And so that kind of just like stuck out to me, you feel what I'm saying? And you also said that, like you weren't the fastest, you weren't the strongest, so there was room for improvement, right? And maybe that was something that was that you saw, like something that you picked up on, or maybe you knew playing in high school. I don't know. But I think the point that I'm really trying to make is, because I want to connect it to life, right? Is that not only is there always room for growth in I would probably say every arena in life. Like you never really, if you're a real student of life, if you're a real student of the game, a real student, I could even say a real master would tell you, you got to remain a student. That's how you master it. You know what I'm saying? There is no 100% mastery of anything. Even if you put your, your 10,000 hours in, there's always room for improvement. Like what Austin said, you know, even LeBron James, James Harden, you feel what I'm saying? Those type of guys, people that are playing at the highest level in the world, like they still have room to improve, right? So it's just like, for me, I think self-awareness has helped me out. So I was curious to see, did you consider yourself self-aware? Because I feel like you were giving statements from a person that is very self-aware. And when it comes to life, ultimately remaining complacent and let me make sure I word this right. You want to make sure you don't remain complacent. And in order to do that, I would say you have to remain a student of the game, a student of life, always having that type of mindset to where it's like, I can improve, what can I improve on? There's somebody out there that's, working better and harder than me. How do I reach that goal? You feel what I'm saying? I have X amount and that may be great, but what's something else that I want? Not always necessarily saying it's never enough, because to me, that's a completely different conversation. But, really just saying, how can I improve from where I'm at now?
But I will say this. I always felt like I was the best. Like every time I play, I felt like I was the best person on the floor. Like whoever I played against, wherever we played, Iowa State. Like I always felt like I was the best. And that's just me. That's how I am. Because I can play something knowing I'm not the best, but when it's basketball and I go out there, I look at myself as the best shooter. Everybody else may not think that, or a lot of other people may not think that, but that's how I feel. And that's how I walk into the game. And it's like, if I'm not hitting, I look at it as like, man, these guys may miss, other guys on the team may miss, but that's not me. I'm not like them. And that's really what keeps me driving. It's like, all right, I really want to like separate myself. That's how it is. And that's really like, I work hard because like you gotta.
You said that's really what? You were breaking up. You said that's really what? Okay.
That's what drove me to work hard, or to work so hard, because I wanted that separation.
Okay, so the first thing that popped up into my mind was, I think that's a great mindset to have, and you should, specifically like if you have the results to like back it up. You feel what I'm saying? So the first question that popped up into my mind was, were you the best? Because thinking you're the best is great. You feel what I'm saying? I'm not saying that you weren't the best. I'm just saying, if people were to look objectively, right, and they were to say, over your career, or if they were to look more specifically and say during that game, pick the best person on the court. And you said it, what I'm saying? Other people might not necessarily think so. But in your mind, objectively speaking, do you think you were the best? Because thinking you're the best is one thing, but like if you look at something objectively, like there is no room. I'm just gonna say there is no room for error, right? Like in my mind, Jordan's the best. Somebody else is going to have a different perspective. Somebody else might say LeBron is the best, but I think when you start to look at things objectively, there can objectively be a true answer. I might not know the answer because I don't watch basketball like that. I'm not a basketball fanatic. You feel what I'm saying? You probably have a closer answer than I would. But objectively speaking, do you feel like, you were the best on the court?
I wasn't always the best on the court, nah.
Okay.
Nah, but I can't say I always played with the fire. And it's like, I also looked at it as like, it was fun to me because like, I was 6'3", 6'4" guarding like 6'8", 6'9" guys. Like we're playing like, Alabama State's playing like Iowa State. Like, I major schools. And I'm guarding guys who are way bigger than me. And I always looked at that like, yeah, I got that dog in me.
Yeah.
So, that and doing that.
Go back.
Like,
you said
you can't be.
I didn't catch what you said after now. You said now what?
I was saying, and I looked at it as like, man, we can't be like locking up. I got to do that. There's not many guys who are that skilled offensively who can do that. So I just feel like you have to balance it out. What you don't have offensively, you have to provide something defensively or some intangible that balances it out in order for you to play.
Okay.
And that's what I did.
Okay. The Zoom kind of broke out, but I just want to make sure I understood what you're saying because I feel like I understand what you're saying. From what I was able to piece together, what you're saying is, you were guarding people that were 6'8", and you were like 6'3", 6'2", somewhere around there, right?
Yeah.
And there was an intangible for you, or an intangible in the game, right, to where you could even guard those type of guys. You feel what I'm saying? And the fact that like you had that dog in you, and you were able to, I'm just gonna say, lock down guys to that height, that stature, that were that big. You know what I'm saying? Like that's 5 inches. Like that's not no small. Like that's, if you're playing ball, somebody that's 5 inches taller than you, that's a big deal. You feel what I'm saying? So for you to be able to, like actually guard them, but a coach to even say, Austin, that's you right there. You feel what I'm saying? You're saying like that's a factor that made you the best. Like that's, I don't want to say that's where the mindset came from, but it's like that intangible is something that went into making you the best.
Well, I'll put it like this. Here's how I look back at it. At the end of the day, it really doesn't matter who's the best. It really matters who consistently brings the most to the table when it pertains to winning. So that's not always necessarily the most skilled offensive player. So it's like how Shaquille O'Neal, and not to get like too deep into basketball, but Shaquille O'Neal, he hangs his hat on being the most dominant player in NBA history. And it's like, he's not the best. A lot of people don't have him as the GOAT, but it's like the dude averaged 30 a game in the finals, 30 and 15, something crazy like that. And he did have his MVP season. He was just a man amongst kids. So it's like, in his mind, I can get why he says I'm the best. And it's like, that's really what it boils down to. And that's not, I feel like at that point, that's not even, I feel like you have to respect that. Like, you can't look at that as ludicrous because you feel like somebody else was better, because the proof is in the pudding. And granted, he backed it up that way with his numbers, but I feel like I backed it up in the way that I was able to. And I'm not even trying to prove I'm the best. It's just a mindset thing that keeps you motivated. I feel like everybody thinks like that. Every player thinks they're the best player. If you ask a guy and you ask him who you think is the best player and he says somebody else, I feel like that says a lot about that player.
Nah, bro.
You just gotta have a bunch of dogs. Like, yeah, it has to be like that.
Nah,
and it's like, I wasn't the best, but
I'm not gonna say how I perceive it, but I guess that is what I'm gonna say. How I look at it is, everybody's the hero in their own story, right? So let's just say we're using life as the game, right? Like,
right.
Or we can just use basketball, right? But we're going to use, let's just use basketball, right? I'm team A, we doing one-on-one. You're team B. I'm trying to win, you're trying to win. In my mind, I'm the best. In your mind, you're the best. You feel what I'm saying? Because this is my story from my perspective. And the same thing goes for you. It's your story from your perspective, right? And ultimately, there's going to be a winner, right? So I 100% feel what it is that you're saying. And I would even make the argument, you touched on it, you feel what I'm saying? Like to me, it's mandatory to feel like you have that it factor. You feel what I'm saying? I'm not saying you have to say you're the best, but you have to have something in you to be like, greatness resides in me. Like, one thing that really like gets me going is I used to listen to this in high school a lot, man. Muhammad Ali's I'm gonna show you how great I am. And I'll insert the clip.
Who knocks out everybody and no one can whoop him. That's when that little Cassius Clay from Louisville, Kentucky came up and stopped Sonny Liston, the man who annihilated Floyd Patterson twice. He was going to kill me. But he hit harder than George. His reach was longer than George. He's a better boxer than George. And I'm better now than I was when you saw that 22-year-old undeveloped kid running from Sonny Liston. I'm experienced now, professional. Jaw's been broke, been lost, knocked down a couple times. Bad. Been chopping trees. I done something new for this fight. I done wrestled with an alligator. That's right. I have wrestled with an alligator. I done tussled with a whale. I done handcuffed lightning, throw thunder in jail. That's bad. Only last week, I murdered a rock. injured a stone, hospitalize a brick. I'm so mean, I make medicine sick.
Man, dude.
Bad.
Ain't no doubt.
Fast. Last night I cut the light off my bedroom, hit the switch, was in the bed before the room was dark.
Incredible.
Fast.
Incredible.
And you, George Foreman, all of you chumps are gonna bow when I whoop him. All of you. I know you got him. I know you got him picked, but the man's in trouble. I'm gonna show you how great I am.
Yes, sir. But it's just like, though, that speech for me is just like, it goes to show that, like, because like, let's just do like a little bit of a history rewind, right? Muhammad Ali was going up against George Foreman, and they were saying George Foreman had the hardest hit in the game. And it was like, Muhammad Ali, you nice, but you're not gonna be able to beat George Foreman. Everybody had George Foreman picked. And Muhammad Ali, his response was basically like, I'm gonna show you how great I am. And we all know what happened, the Rumble in the Jungle. You know what I'm saying? He was up against the ropes, taking them hits, you feel what I'm saying? And to me, that's like a life thing, you feel what I'm saying? Like, when life has you in a corner, everybody's not necessarily for you or on your team, you feel what I'm saying? But you have that something in you driving you, saying like, no, I'm really gonna show you how great I am. I hate to say it, that chip on your shoulder, because to me, that's like trying to prove something to everybody else. You should really be trying to prove that to yourself, you feel what I'm saying?
Right.
But when you have that in you, bro, and then you go out and show it in a real way, and then in the last round you say bing bing bing, and you knock him down, bro. Like, we all know the famous picture when I'm like, you feel what I'm saying? Like, to me, man, that's what I'm trying to go after. I feel like that's what you're trying to go after. Anybody that I'm really trying to build with, I feel like that's what they're trying to go after. And, you know, shoot, bro, if you're not trying to go after something like that in life, me personally, I don't really know what you're doing, man. Like, that's not the type of energy I'm trying to be around right now.
Yeah. And that's the thing too, you have to look at who you surround yourself with. It's like, for example, like, I hang with Southside Tony, Sauce World Order Ant, the guy. He has his own media platform, Sauce World Order, man. You gotta check that out. But, you know, it's like he took me under his wing, and I've really been like looking at how hard he works, man. This man doesn't sit down. He's always on his grind. Like, I don't know anybody that works as hard as him. Mm-hmm. And I know a lot of people, but I don't know anybody who works as hard as him. And it's so like strategic. And when I tell you, I care about networking, and I try to like expand my network and try to like reach out to anybody and everybody I can and meet, shake hands, and bump elbows with as many people as I can. Man, that guy's a master at it. And I just look at him and I try to like sort of take little tips and hints from him to try to like, you know, get to where I'm as social as he is, or I'm to where I'm at the level where I can reach out to people like how he does and how easily he does. Because a lot of times, like, I'll be reluctant to even like work with certain people. Like, I'll tell him about like certain people who like he'll try to, you know, make business happen with when it comes to the platform, and I'll like say, I don't know about this guy, you know. I'll try to put that bug in his ear, or I'll hype other people up. And at the end of the day, he's always just willing to, you know, work with whoever. He's just always reaching out to people. And I love that. And, you know, that's why I look up to him.
I feel you.
I'm not really even a person that like looks up to people like that, but like, that's my guy. Like, I look up to him.
That's where I was gonna go. Honestly, I was just gonna be like, you know, kind of going off of that energy. You know, I know that that's one person that you do. Is there anybody else, or do you have a figure, you know, that you do look up to? You feel what I'm saying? Or was like, it's like that person motivates me, or like, you know, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this. I don't mean this in a literal way, and I'll break it down a little bit. But, you know, I model my life after this person, and what I mean by that is like, I see this person has success. They were in this position. They were able to get to this position in life. You feel what I'm saying? And they did X, Y, and Z to get there. You know, I can take bits and pieces of what it is that they say and apply that to my life. Do you have any, you know, role models like that in your life?
No. And I'll put it like this. When I was young, my dad always told me, he said, be a leader and not a follower. And I took that 100%. I took it for what it was worth. I didn't take it with a grain of salt. I took it as like, you're never supposed to follow anybody. Always do your own thing. So since I was little, I never considered anybody a role model. Like, not, and I hate to say it, like, not even my dad, because I always looked at it as like, instead of trying to make yourself like these people or try to sculpt yourself after these people who you're looking up to, maybe you should try to learn from the mistakes they make and try to like take notes on the success or on the things they did, the steps they did in order to achieve the success that they have, which a lot of people don't get. A lot of people see a guy be successful in a certain area, whether it be athletics, entertainment, business, and they try to do exactly what that person did when it doesn't work that way. And that's why I feel like a lot of people mess up. And granted, I'm not saying I have all the answers, but I feel like you're not supposed to just idol people, because I don't believe in idolatry.
Okay, I'm with you. We got about 8 minutes left before we got to wrap up. But I love where the conversation is going specifically right now, because I would say how you answered that question, you know, the answer that you gave is really one of the reasons that I mess with you so tough. Like, yeah, we're family. That's, you know, that's great. You know, not to dismiss that, you know, but what I'm looking for, you know, is people that ultimately like know what it is that they want in life and are striving to go and, you know, reach it. You feel what I'm saying? And I just feel like based off of the answer that you gave me, it's like you're comfortable with who it is that you are. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what it is that you want, and you're the type of person that's not just going to let somebody come in and, you know, shake that up. You feel what I'm saying? I literally made a podcast about that today. I don't know if that podcast is going to go up, but you know, I really respect that trait in you, man, because not everybody has that, bro. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I would say probably for most people, even for myself, you know, I just think the way in which I do it is a little different. That welcome to the difference. But the way in which for most people, you feel what I'm saying, it's like they don't know how to, they just don't know how to walk. You feel what I'm saying? Like, they don't know how to like think for themselves. You feel what I'm saying? Like, for me, man, I learn from others, you feel what I'm saying? But I, like the example that I gave earlier, I just take bits and pieces, you feel what I'm saying? It's not I'm going to match, or it's not for me, it's not I'm going to march to the beat of your drum to a T. You feel what I'm saying? I'm willing to follow you. I'm willing to learn from you, but understand that this is a transactional relationship, man, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. It just means that I'm in this relationship, not necessarily saying with you, but like in general, I'm in this relationship, you know, to get something from you, and for me, hopefully I can provide you value. You feel what I'm saying? And when I get what I need, man, it's on to the next one. Not necessarily saying I'm gonna leave you behind, or it's like F you. You know, it's just like, bro, I'm trying to get somewhere, man, and I need keys in my life. You feel what I'm saying? I need those gems, those nuggets. You feel what I'm saying? And most people, I think, they're just like sheep.
Yep. And a lot of people just, like you said, are like sheep and follow blindly. But I feel like that's just the society we live in today. I feel like social media, of course, plays a big factor into that. And it's like, everybody looks at the next man or woman on how to feel. And I feel like that's completely backwards.
I feel you, man. I feel you. Well, listen, Austin. Well, no, we got about 5 minutes. So I'll ask one more question. I want you to speak on your Sauce World, New World Order. I probably got that wrong, but I know it's Sauce World Order. Is that it?
Yeah, Sauce World Order.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so
speak on that.
So Sauce World Order is a media company run by Anthony, you know, Big Ant, you know, we call him. He's been at it for, 10 plus years, man. And his thing is just expanding. And he's done interviews all over. He's linked with guys all over the nation, done interviews, done business, as far as like expanding the brand, Sauce World Order. And man, he just does a bunch of, like I said, he does a bunch of different stuff. But as it pertains to Sauce World Order, he's looking to expand in different states and to have where and to have it where he can have different artists around the nation. And that's the sort of gear he's in right now. And me, I'm an ambassador of that. Ambassador of the brand.
Okay. So I'll ask you this. Like, do you have any personal goals when it comes to the Sauce World Order, or like things that you're trying to accomplish right now? You know, I would say just like personally. You know what I mean?
Personally, so I'm working on, you know, because there's so much to it, because you have the sneaker side of it, and then you also have the music side of it, then you just have the overall media side of it when it comes to the entertainment, like our acts, the acts that Ant has. Claudie is another girl, Tunchi. Then he has music artists like Soulja Life, man, and it's so much to it. But I would say the biggest thing, I feel like my lane in that would be the general media side, when it comes to like the interviews and stuff like that, and reaching out to people and having other people like lock in with the brand. And that's why I sort of like take pride in with it, because he called me earlier and like we'll talk almost every day and just chop it up about like this new artist, and like we'll reach out to people, throw stuff out. Oh, I see so-and-so is gonna be in Birmingham, I see so-and-so is gonna be in Atlanta. Like it'll be stuff like that, and it'll be like, who's popping right now? And there'll be times where there will be artists who will have zero buzz, and he'll send it to me. He'll send them to me like on Instagram. He'll be talking to me on the phone. He'll be like, yeah, man, I'm peeping this dude out of like Fort Worth. You know, I think he's stuff, blah, blah. He don't really have the numbers, but you know. And there's been times where I've been like, I don't know, man. I don't know, Ant. You know, and you look up like a year later and they blow up. And vice versa. Like, I'll do the same thing to him. I'll be like, yeah, I think I like him. I think I like her, like a female artist. And then you look up, they take off. And that's just how it is. But at the same time, he's never afraid to reach out to anybody, and nor am I. Like, I'll reach out to anybody. Like, I'll ask anybody to work. And that's another thing too. Like, I'm not afraid to reach out to people. Like, and that's just how it is. And I feel like that's a part of like, that's why I say like I look at like what I do as a sport, because like even like my full-time job as a sport, and also the media work I do as a sport, because it's like I can always get better at like networking with people, and I can see the results of that. So that's just what it is.
I feel you.
The brand, and I would put it like this: the brand is continuing to build, and you know, he's just trying to, you know, keep it going, and I'm trying to help him keep it going. So,
no, man, that's beautiful. Running out of time, but I do want to ask you this because you did touch on it. The alarm's gonna go off, but we still got about 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 15 seconds. So answer quickly if you can. But I do want to ask you this. You touched on like a year later, right? Have you experienced like putting in that work in a year and being able to see the difference from where you started to a year later? Because I'm in that metamorphosis right now. For me, it's only been about a month, maybe 2. And I can already see the results. You feel what I'm saying? Have you been through that yourself?
Oh yeah, but in different areas of life.
Right.
I've been there with basketball. I've been there with, you know, you could say your social life. You could say school, everything. So yeah, and it's just like when you get to that point, like you said, when you look back a year and see how far you've come, that's a driving force to continue to try to reach your ceiling, or to try to burst through your ceiling, rather.
I feel you, man. So, you know, we got about a minute left, so I'm gonna do my outro. But y'all heard it at the end right there, man. You know, give yourself a year, man. Tap in. You know what I'm saying? Put in that work. And
yeah, bro, you gotta invite me back on so I can give some hot takes.
Nah, bro, this might be a regular little thing, bro. You might be my co-host, or you know what I'm saying? Like, this might be our podcast, takes, bro. Like, for real, bro. People see this, they might go crazy. I'm not gonna lie, especially if you post it. But I mean, ultimately, man, look, it's been your boy, Speaker of Truth. Thank you all for listening to the Difference Podcast. Austin, thank you so much for coming on. Anything else you gotta say before they kick us off?
Nah, man, I appreciate you having me, man. There's much love, bro. Love you, brother.
Hey, man, love you too, bro. But That's all we got, man. We out.